Hello plant tribe, and how are you doing today? I am doing lovely, thank you so much for asking. You are all looking absolutely fabulous today. Did you do something with your hair? Looks great. For those of you who are new here, welcome. It is so lovely to have you. My name is Nikki. This is my channel, Plants, Pots, and Whatnots. And for you gluttons for punishment that keep on coming back for more, it is so amazing to have you back. I really appreciate you coming back again and again and again. So today I thought we would create some carnage. We would destroy things and then rebuild them. I'm gonna propagate some plants today. If that sounds like something that you'd like to join me in, then by all means stick around and let's get snip happy. Okay, so we are just going to take one last look at this gorgeous, amazing, majestic Philodendron Glorious before I chop her. So she's actually sitting about 5-ish feet tall at this point, but it's getting to the point where it just can't support itself, and the bottom leaves are getting a little icky, so it's gonna happen. So I'm just voicing over this part because I was really distraught while I was doing this, and so I figured I'd just do it this way. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take the moss off. It is a little bit dry. Just as a forewarning, you really want to be careful when you're taking the moss off, especially if it is a little bit dry. Take your time. It's not worth ripping off a brand new root that this plant has tried so hard to grow. So even if you have to take off, you can see here I'm just taking off kind of like one piece at a time, wiggling it gently. I think because I'm speeding it up, it probably looks like I'm not being quite as gentle as I'm actually being. But rest assured, I am being rather gentle here. So you just kind of want to keep picking at it until you have all of those beautiful roots exposed. So once I got all of the moss off here, you can see that the root system still isn't really substantial. Now the problem that I had with this, and the reason that I made the decision here to cut it now, is because the leaves are growing faster than these roots are growing, and so I kind of feel like I have no choice at this point but to just chop the whole thing by node. So here's me stressing out about cutting it, and oh, is everybody ready? This was literally heartbreaking. Oh god. Oh, that hurt. That hurt. Look how beautiful that new leaf was. Oh. Okay, so now I've already snipped one, and I am just going to go ahead down, and I believe at this point I snip 6 more nodes. So you just want to make sure that you get enough of the stem on the top and the bottom, so that if you experience any rot from either end once you put it in your spag moss, that it's not going to travel straight up to the node and destroy your node. So there's another one. That's the one with the roots. Now I'm hoping that these roots, I mean, those roots should be more than enough to sustain that leaf, but they were definitely not enough to sustain 5 huge leaves. 2 maybe, but not 5. So this is where we're at. Here goes another one. Oh god, oh. Whew. This is hard to rewatch. I'm telling you, it was more tragic the first time. It's even more tragic now. Oh boy. Anywho, so let's go ahead and get these potted. So here I'm just preparing all of my moss. I think we had, was there 7 plants altogether that we had to put into pots, so I definitely did need some moss. Now this is the long fiber sphagnum moss, and I really like using this stuff in particular. I'm sure I mentioned it before. It retains water well, and it creates lots of air circulation around the roots of the plant, so that is my favorite moss to use personally. Okay, so here I'm basically just wrapping each individual node. So some of these I'm using the little Ziploc screw with the screw-on lids, and some of them I am using those, once you get salads in from like Independent. Okay, so I think that's almost, I think this is the last one here. So I've got them all situated in their new little homes. Oh, nope, sorry, there's the big one. There's the big one. That's the top cutting that I'm really hoping makes it. So here they all are. Oh, this is such a stunning plant. So I think we've got 7 plants all together. 1, 2, 3, I don't know. I think there's 7 of them there, and then I have the main plant, which will regrow. It's so stinking beautiful. Ugh. So then what I usually do is I take my little squeezy bottle with water in it. I pour a little bit of Super Thrive. So you don't need to use that much, especially when you have such a small container, because this is absolutely concentrated. So I just pour a little bit in the cap there, dump it in. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of this soil inoculant from House of Monstera. And we're going to go ahead and put 3 little drops of that in there. And 1, 2, 3. And then we're just going to go ahead and we don't want to put too much on because the sphagnum moss, goodness, that was difficult. The sphagnum moss is already wet, so you just want to squirt just a little bit around there. Or alternatively, you can do that to the spag moss before you pot them. Had I been thinking, that's probably what I would have done, but I wasn't. So then I had to do it afterwards. But yeah, so don't drench them, just give it a nice little spray. You can also put rooting hormone on them, but I don't necessarily use it that often at all. And because I keep these in a greenhouse, it really should be fine. It should trigger those nodes to reproduce new growth anyways. So there, ta-da! So they are all ready to go in the greenhouse. Those are some seriously beautiful leaves right there, folks. And here they all are, all nestled in their nice warm little humidity tent. And we are all just going to cross our fingers, toes, and eyeballs that they all grow and thrive and blossom into this gorgeous, beautiful, big plant. Okay, so what I want to do today is I want to go ahead and air layer this Pink Princess. Reason being is that the top leaves are actually starting to create like a significant amount of pink, if you can see that, and the bottom just really isn't. So what I want to do is go ahead and start an air layer right here, and then once the roots are nice and long, I can go ahead and snip that off, plant it, and hopefully we will start to produce a little bit more of a pink princess. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Okay, so I'm just gonna move this down just a little bit so that we can get a little bit of slack on there. Wrap that back around. So basically the only things that you need to air layer any plant is sphagnum moss and saran wrap, and then I use those little green garden ties, the Velcro ones. Now these are great because you can just reuse them over and over. These pieces in particular obviously have been cut before and used before, and that's why I really like these, because they are reusable. And they're really, really gentle. This side is super soft, so when you're putting it against the stem of the plant or wherever you're holding it up, it doesn't damage it because it's nice soft material there. So that, and then saran wrap, which I have conveniently forgotten, so I will be right back. And we have cling wrap. What do they call this? Yeah, cling wrap. All right, so I've got my moss here. Let me just get a piece of this. This is probably like way too big of a piece, but what I'm gonna go ahead and do first is grab some of my moss and just, that's probably way more than enough. Okay, and then you just need to, oh, it's probably way too much, hold on. Am I too much gene kicking in? Thank you, Jenna Marbles. Okay, so there is the moss that I have. I want to make sure that I cover all sides of the roots. So I am going to put a little more in this side over here. There we go. Okay, and then you just basically need to wrap that around there. I like to leave a little teeny gap in the top where I can kind of stick my little squeezy watering thing down in there and spray some into the moss if it gets too dry, rather than having to take this whole thing apart, and then I just seal up the bottom to keep the moisture in. And that, folks, is how easy that is. Now I'm just going to take an extra piece of Velcro here, kind of attach a couple together and wrap that all the way around, because this does create obviously a more heavy top heavy plant. We don't want that stem to snap, so I'm going to go ahead and just wrap it right around there. Oh, there's extra pieces. And there we go. She's all set. So I will probably check her every, why aren't you sticking? You're supposed to cling. That's literally your only job. Cling, wrap. Okay, so as I was saying, I'll probably go ahead and check that in about 2 weeks. You may start to see like little roots kind of growing in and around here. There is the little mall. So you'll eventually start seeing like little roots and whatnot poking in here. Now, depending on the plant that you're air layering, it depends on how quickly that happens. And it is really annoying me that this cling wrap is not clinging. Just stay there, okay? Anyway, so that is our second propagation for the day. That was super, super easy. And I think the last one that I want to do is my Syngonium Pink Splash, because it has gone absolutely crazy. So let me go get that and I will be right back. Okay, here's my Syngonium Pink Splash, and as you can see, she's just gone a little bit wild. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chop the top off right about here, and I'm actually gonna try to cut this down by node and propagate by node. So it looks like we're gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 new plants out of this. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just start snipping her and then put her in some spag moss cups. And then in no time we'll have a bunch of new pink splash plants. And then I'm hoping to plant a couple more down in the bottom here just to kind of create a more full sort of look, because this plant is just so pretty. But I want her to be more full instead of so tall and kind of viney. That's a word, right? Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Step number 1. I'm going to cut her right about there. So there is all the nodes that we're going to be propagating. So I'm going to go ahead and put this guy back on our shelf, and then let's come back and I will I mean, this is basically the same idea as the Glorious. So okay, so we have our moss, we have our little cups. By the way, these were like the best deal ever. I got these on Amazon. I think it was like 10 bucks, somewhere in and around there, and you get 100 of these things, and they're actually like quite sturdy, you know what I mean? They're not like, they're obviously cheap, but they're not like that crazy, you know, you can squeeze them once and they fall apart. I've actually rewashed these and used them, but yeah, like 100, and it was an awesome deal. The only part I don't like is they're really hard to get apart. Okay, one more. Oh, there we go, that was easier. Okay, so let's go ahead and start cutting. So this one I think I'm just going to cut right here. I don't want to cut here because this is too new and I'm afraid it's not going to make it. So I'm going to cut right here. So let's go ahead and get her all spagged. I'll make sure you get all of the node, and then plunk her right in there. Okay, and there's plant number 1. We'll set her there and we'll keep going. So here's node number 2. You don't want to cut too close to here, because if you get any rot, it's going to move into the node faster. So you want to give yourself a little bit of space so that if this part rots a little bit with the water or the extra moisture, you've still got a long ways to the node. So always give yourself a little bit of extra space. And we'll take some more moss. What is that? Okay, there's number 2. You don't want to pack it too tight, but you want enough that it's going to retain enough moisture to actually root the plant, which is what you're looking for. So there is number 2. And here we go. There's number 3. Doing this is also great because I mean, your plant does benefit from a haircut every now and then. It kind of encourages new growth and whatnot. And also, these are all going to grow. And I know lots of my friends would like to have this plant. And if I can, you know, share the love, I always say that's like one of the best parts of, you know, collecting plants is sharing them with friends. And you know, you can always trade them for things that you have that maybe you wouldn't otherwise be able to find or get or buy or whatever. So there is number 4. Like, how cute. How cute. It's so cute. Alright, and then the last one. Right there. There we go. So we have our 5 little, there we go. We have our 5 little Pink Splash Syngonium babies. Look at that one. Look how pink that is. Let me see if I can focus there for you. Is that focusing? Isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. Anyway, I haven't had anything fail with me using this sphagnum in cup in greenhouse method, and I think it works great as long as you make sure that you don't let your spag dry out. You don't want it sopping wet, but it definitely needs to be moist. Like if you touch it, it's, you know, damp. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop these in the greenhouse. And I think I'll do one more plant for you guys today. I know I've been promising it for a while and I haven't done it, and it desperately needs to be done. So I'm gonna go ahead and propagate my pitcher plant because it really does need it. So I'll get these put away, I'll grab my pitcher plant down, and we'll go ahead and I'll show you how you can propagate a pitcher plant. Okay, so this guy is clearly gotten a smidgen out of control, and I've been meaning to cut him for a while, but I wanted to do it on video for you guys so I can show you how to propagate a pitcher plant. So the things that you need are a pair of clean scissors. Oh my gosh, stick to everything. Sphagnum moss and some containers. It's really easy. There's not much to it. There's just a couple little tricks. I could never get them together. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to cut this big long stalk off. So what I'm gonna do, there are two smaller plants growing out of the middle there, if you can see that. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this whole piece and propagate this whole piece. So it's gonna be difficult to do, but we can do this. And we're gonna have more plants in the end. So everybody just take a deep breath. Okay, and you wanna try to get it down as close as possible. So I'm not sure. Let me try to hold this up to you guys. I can grab the pot. Okay. So I'm cutting it right. Can you see that? No, no. Can you see that right there? See where my sisters are? Anyways, I'm cutting it down as far as I can. There's a woody spot right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just... Oh, I didn't think it would be that tough. Maybe I should have got my little shears. There we go. Okay. So this guy's good to go now. He's a little dry, so I can give him some water, but those I can just hang right back up and they will be fine, and they will continue to grow and produce nice healthy pitchers. So I'm gonna put him back up, and then I will come back and show you what to do with this mess. Okay, so you're gonna have scenarios where your nodes are really close together, like right here. You can see those. And then you're gonna have some that are further apart. So you're gonna get the best propagation success when you take about 2 to 3 nodes. So we're gonna do 3 nodes for each cutting. So the first thing I'm gonna do, and this is gonna be a little heartbreaking, but we're gonna go ahead and cut all of these pitchers off, which isn't a big deal because we're gonna get even more chop happy in a few minutes. So just keep in mind when you do cut these off, they do have like a liquidy, watery sap in them. And it is really sticky, so it'll fall all over your, so try to do it someplace. I'm gonna drop them right in. You can't even see that. There we go. There's 1, 2. It's just a lot easier to work with when the pitchers aren't dangling there, because these get quite heavy. All right, little pitchers. And then I'll just take these pitchers and get rid of them. Okay, there we go. All the pitchers are gone. And let me go get rid of them. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and cut these, and then I will show you what to look for and how to actually pot them up. So like I said, we're gonna take 2 to 3 node cuttings. So I'm gonna go in here. These ones are really, really tight. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then try to get, okay, so there's 1. 1, 2, 3. There's 2. 1, 2, 3. Oh boy. There's also like nectar along the whole like stem, so my hands are like super sticky right now. 1, 2, 3. Now I will tell you, when you're cutting in between here, what you want to watch out for. Oh. So right here, you'll see a little, what they call a basal node, or it's a dormant node where the new growth will grow from, should it need to re-sprout new growth. So I'll hold this down. I'm hoping that I can zoom in and show you that. If that didn't work, I will insert a photo. So once I cut these, I will show you that a little more in depth. But when you're cutting them in half, you want to make sure that you don't cut through that basal node, or else that particular node won't be able to regrow anything. So just be mindful of that. You want to try to cut with as much space above this leaf as you can. So what you should really aim to do is, oh, that's number 3, is cut right below this leaf. Sorry if you can see that. So here's this leaf. I want to cut like right underneath there, just to make sure that I'm not getting this basal node right here. Give a little snip. 3. Okay, and then I'm going to do one more. And snip. Okay, what we want to do now is, so now that we've cut these, obviously they don't have a whole lot of root. In order for these to grow the best, and have the best success of actually growing roots and propagating, we need to chop a lot of this foliage off. So I don't want to cut the whole leaf, but I want to cut like a large majority. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that much off. And same here. Okay, we'll just throw those aside. I'm going to leave this one though, because that is the top cutting and it's new growth, and there's still a lot of growth hormone and whatnot in the newer growth, so I'm going to leave that exactly as it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut each one of them here. So here's this one. I'm going to cut there, there, there. I know this looks brutal, but you'll have to trust me. I mean, you don't have to trust me. You can not trust me, but it'll work. Okay. Next one. Whoop. That one, that one. Can we let go of each other? I know you're gonna miss each other. Thank you. That one. There's another one. It's the next one. Uh-oh, we're dropping them on the floor now. There's the next one. There's the next one. I know this looks brutal. I know. Okay. This one I'm going to leave a little bit more. I'm a little weirded out by the fact that there's not a whole lot of growth there. Now this is right at the bottom, so this part is a little bit more woody. That part may or may not make it, so just be cognizant of that, is that your woodier, the oldest part of the plant, so where I cut it from, may not actually root. That happens a lot. So there's that. And then the last one here. It really does hurt to cut all these off. Okay, there we go. Actually, I'm going to cut these bottom ones a little further back. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and tilt the camera down, and then I am going to show you this a little more close up. Okay, so now we have all of these cuttings. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So it's really difficult to see But if you look right here, see if I can focus in on that. Yeah. This is where the new growth is going to grow from. This is where the roots are going to grow from. We want at least one of these basal nodes below the medium, whatever you're using to pot it in. I use sphagnum moss. I recommend it, but I mean, you do you. It gives the roots a lot of air and a lot of moisture to be able to root, because this plant isn't able to pull up obviously any moisture, just like anything else. So we want to make sure that we keep it nice and moist. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of moss. We don't want to put it too low, because that new growth is going to, because what we're trying to do is activate this node, right? So this is where your new growth is going to come from. So we don't want it to have to work its way all the way up through the pot. So we just want it to be right near the top of the pot. So go ahead and wrap him up. There we go. You want a little bit on the top. Oh goodness, I'm just making a mess now. You want a little bit over the top. Actually, I don't quite have enough over the top there. There we go. Okay, so we've wrapped him all up. I'm just gonna plunk him down into the pot there. And there is our first one. So let's go ahead and do the next one. So the leaves on a Nepenthes grow up, so we know that this is the bottom. Again, this is where the roots are gonna come out of. That little basal node there is the one that we are going to want to activate. So again, roots come out of here, new growth comes out of right here. So we'll take some moss, wrap him up. And we will plunk him down in there. Okay, there's number 2. Oh, I don't. Okay, there we go. So we have all of our little pitcher plant babies all potted up there and ready to be put into the greenhouse. Now, if you don't have a greenhouse to put these in, I would definitely recommend using the spag bag method. If you're not new to the channel, you've seen me use that method a lot of times. I would just go ahead and put, I mean, depending on what size of Ziploc bags you have in, you can just set these inside the bag, blow some air in, zip it up so that it creates a lot of humidity, and then you can just set it in medium to bright light and they'll be good to go. I have a greenhouse, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in the greenhouse where the humidity is about 98-99% the majority of the time, and about 26-27 degrees. So that's a perfect scenario for these guys. They should, hopefully, knock on wood, root out within about 3 to 4 weeks. So I will definitely keep you guys updated on all the propagations that we did today. And I will let you know how that goes. So let me go ahead and get these into the greenhouse, and then I will show you what they look like when they start to grow. Okay, here is one that has already rooted and is starting to grow new little pitchers. How super cute is that? Let me focus on the right part of the plant here. There we go. Super adorable. And then you can tell she is working on growing some new ones here and here, and there is the new growth. So the new growth obviously grows from the newest leaf. This guy is all rooted and good to go. I think they're just really cute. So that's pretty much all I had today. I hope you enjoyed watching me chop up my plants. I may have cried a little. It may have happened. Anyways, like I said, I will definitely keep you guys in the loop as far as how these are doing. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please go ahead and follow me over there. Here is my Instagram handle. What do the cool kids call it? I guess handle. So go ahead and follow me over there. That's where I post all of the updates and all the cool fun things that are going on with my plants and just anything random that I happen to think of that day. But that's definitely where I'll be posting updates in the meantime until I do another video with all the propagations that we made today. So with that, I would like to say thank you so much, guys, for watching and liking and commenting and subscribing. It means so much to me. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. It is a huge help to my channel and I really do appreciate it. Also, don't forget to hit that little dingy dong bell because that notifies you when I upload a new video. And I'm sure you want to know, right? At least I hope you do. Anyways, thank you again. I would like you all to have a great day, night, week, month, and year. I love you all to bitty bits, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah!